Of all the 12 signs in the Zodiac, one is surrounded by more myth, more fear, and more misunderstanding than all the others combined, the Scorpio. You know the reputation. Intense, passionate, secretive, controlling. They are the enigma everyone is drawn to, but few can ever truly claim to understand, leaving you guessing, always guessing, about what's really going on behind those piercing eyes. But today, we are ending the guesswork. We are going to decode the Scorpio operating system, exploring 18 reasons why they are so profoundly misunderstood. And I promise you, one of these reasons, reason number 4 specifically, we completely shatter everything you thought you knew about this powerful sign. Why am I so confident in this analysis? My name is Anya Sage, and as a psychological astrologer, my life's work is decoding the why behind the what of the Zodiac. And the Scorpio enigma is a system I've spent years mastering. I don't see chaos, I see a brilliant, protective architecture. So what really drives this misunderstood nature? Is it just a toxic cocktail of stubbornness and jealousy? Or is there a much deeper, more logical system at play? Let's look past the surface behaviors that everyone sees and finally understand the core programming that very few ever get to access. We begin with what I call the Scorpio survival kit. These are the external traits everyone points to, the ones that build the intimidating reputation, but they are not character flaws. They are stress testing the walls, checking for weaknesses and ensuring the structure is strong enough to weather any storm. Their control is actually a profound act of nurturing. They are trying to create a world for you, and for them that is safe. This ties directly into their most infamous trait, jealousy, point number 18. This is where so many people get it wrong. Let's create a scenario. You're with your Scorpio partner, and a text lights up your phone. It's from your ex, a seemingly innocent, "Hey, how have you been?" You see it as nothing. Your Scorpio sees a potential breach in the fortress walls. Their reaction might not be an immediate outburst. It might be a sudden shift in the energy of the room, a quiet intensity. Then the questions begin. Who was that? What did they want? Why are they contacting you now? It feels like an interrogation. It feels like they don't trust you, but you must look deeper. The internal process for the Scorpio isn't "my partner is cheating." The internal process is a lightning-fast, visceral jolt of fear. The single most important connection in my life is under threat. Their jealousy is rarely about possession in the way people think. It's about a terrifying vulnerability. They love so deeply, so completely, that the thought of losing that bond feels like an existential threat. The intensity of their questioning is a direct measure of the intensity of their fear of losing you. It's a cry for security, not a declaration of ownership. This need for a secure internal world also explains the next stereotype, the arrogant loner. You see a Scorpio who is fiercely independent, point 17, and unbelievably stubborn, point 16. You try to offer help on a project they are struggling with, and they shut you down. Not politely, but with a firm, almost cold finality. I've got it. Is this arrogance? No. This is self-reliance as a core pillar of their identity. For many Scorpios, their sense of worth is intrinsically tied to their ability to survive, to overcome, to win on their own terms. To accept help can feel like admitting they are not strong enough to protect themselves. Their stubbornness isn't about being right. It's about proving to themselves that they are resilient. Their convictions are not held lightly. They are forged in the fires of their own deep emotional sensitivity and introspection. To back down from a conviction feels like a betrayal of the self. So we have these foundational traits. What looks like control is building security. What looks like jealousy is fear of loss. And what looks like arrogance is radical self-reliance. This is their armor. Now that we've decoded these classic Scorpio traits, I want to hear from you. Which one have you encountered the most? Or what's a misconception about Scorpios that drives you absolutely crazy? Say it in the comments below. I read them all. But understanding their survival tactics is only level 1. To truly know a Scorpio, you have to venture into the high-stakes world of their heart. This isn't just about how they act. It's about the core emotional code that powers every single decision they make. First, you must understand their all-or-nothing emotional spectrum. Point number 5. A Scorpio does not do lukewarm. They don't have sort of friends or kind of interests. They love with a consuming, world-altering passion, and they can hate with a chilling, surgical precision. There is no middle ground because for them, emotional investment is total. To give a piece of themselves is to give all of themselves. This is why their loyalty is legendary, but also why their disappointment is so devastating. And this all-in approach leads us to their ultimate vulnerability, their single greatest need. Point number 3, the profound, non-negotiable need for trust and security. Every guarded behavior, every skeptical question, every wall they build is in service to this one prime directive: protect the heart at all costs. Their trust is not given, it is earned. It is earned through consistency, through loyalty, through proving that you understand the stakes. Breaking a Scorpio's trust is not like breaking a promise. It is like detonating a bomb in the heart of their fortress. The damage is structural, and the rebuilding process is long and arduous, if it happens at all. And it's this very dynamic, this intense need for security, clashing with their all-or-nothing heart, that brings us to the core of their power. This brings us to the promised revelation, to point number 4. This is where we talk about the legendary, untamed power of the Scorpio, especially the Scorpio woman. I want you to picture a dormant volcano, calm, majestic, solid on the surface. You can walk on it, you can admire its beauty, you might even forget the immense, molten power churning deep within its core. That is the Scorpio essence. Point number 4. The promised revelation is about the charisma and willpower of the Scorpio woman. There is a force in her that is almost primal. People mistake it for coldness, for being intimidating or aloof. What they are actually sensing is an unyielding, unbreakable focus. A Scorpio woman, when she has a goal, whether it's in her career, her creative pursuits, or her personal life, possesses a dominant will. Point number 10, that is simply breathtaking. She is a natural leader, a strategist who sees 10 moves ahead. Her coldness is actually the absence of distraction. She is so aligned with her own truth and her own objective that she cannot be swayed by popular opinion or superficial nonsense. She is not here to be liked. She is here to achieve. And that level of authenticity is so rare that it is often profoundly intimidating to those who live their lives by committee. This power also manifests in their famous seductive energy. Point number 11. Let's be very clear. Scorpio seduction is not a manipulative game. It is a strategic tool for connection. Because they crave a deep, soul-level bond, superficial conversation is torture for them. It feels like a waste of time. Seduction, the intense eye contact, the deep questions, the magnetic pull, is their way of bypassing the small talk. It is a high-bandwidth communication channel designed to get to the truth of who you are, fast. They are trying to see if your soul is compatible with theirs. It is the most efficient method they have for forging the all-encompassing emotional bonds they need to survive. But what happens when that bond is betrayed? This is where we must confront the darkest, most feared Scorpio traits: their intense anger, point number 9, and their desire for revenge, point number 8. Most people see this as malicious, petty, or even evil. This is, again, a surface-level reading. Let's go back to our volcano. A betrayal, for a Scorpio, is a tectonic event. It is a fundamental violation of the natural laws of their universe. The anger that erupts is not chaotic rage. It is the release of immense, pressurized pain and disillusionment. And the revenge? It is almost never about inflicting pain for its own sake. For a Scorpio, revenge is about restoring balance. It is about delivering justice. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a Scorpio entrepreneur who pours her heart, soul, and life savings into a partnership, only to be ruthlessly betrayed by her partner, who steals their joint intellectual property and leaves her with nothing. A different sign might have a public meltdown, might scream and cry. The Scorpio goes quiet. She goes cold, and she begins to work. For a year, she says nothing. She disappears. She's not plotting a petty social media takedown. She is meticulously, patiently gathering evidence. She is documenting every lie, every stolen asset. Simultaneously, she is building something new, something better, fueled by the fire of that betrayal. Her revenge isn't screaming at her ex-partner in a restaurant. Her revenge is a calm, detailed legal filing delivered by a courier and a product launch 2 weeks later that makes the stolen IP completely obsolete. She doesn't just want him to fail. She wants to demonstrate that his betrayal was a strategic error, and her power, her resilience, was the superior force all along. It's not malice. It is the grim, methodical, and deeply satisfying restoration of justice. The universe has been set right again. After all this fire and intensity, this talk of volcanoes, this is where we find the secret, soft interior of the Scorpio. This is the part almost no one gets to see. Let's start with something surprisingly physical. Point number 2. Their intense and wet kisses. This detail might sound strange, but it's a perfect metaphor. A Scorpio pours their soul into everything they do. A kiss is not just a kiss. It is a transfer of energy, of emotion, of devotion. The intensity isn't for show. It's the physical manifestation of their profound emotional depth leaking out. They cannot help it. They connect with their whole being, or not at all. This deep well of feeling also makes them incredibly vulnerable romantics, which explains why they often seem to play hard to get. Point number 12, or come across as indecisive and sensitive in love. Point number 14. This is not a game. I repeat, it is not a game. For a Scorpio, choosing a partner is the single highest stakes decision they will ever make. Their attraction to mystery, to people who are a challenge, is not about the thrill of the chase. It's because they are testing for depth. A person who is an open book on the first date is, to them, boring and likely superficial. They need to excavate. They need to know what's under the surface. Their indecisiveness is a defense mechanism born from a profound fear of being hurt. They are holding back, analyzing, reanalyzing, not because they don't know if they like you, but because they are terrified of what will happen if they let themselves love you completely, and you turn out to be another tectonic betrayal waiting to happen. They are protecting their core from catastrophic disappointment. This protective instinct also colors their entire worldview, creating what many see as a skeptical or even negative personality. Point number 7. The Scorpio, who always seems to be pointing out the flaw in a plan or the potential for disaster, isn't a pessimist for the sake of it. They are running a constant threat assessment program. Their skepticism is an intellectual filter, a firewall designed to protect their deeply sensitive inner world from the harshness and stupidity of the outside world. They've seen how badly things can go, and their negativity is actually a form of protection for themselves and for the people they care about. So we have journeyed from the outer armor to to the inner sanctum. We have seen the survival tools, the emotional operating system, the core of power, and the soft, vulnerable underbelly. What does this all mean? It means the grand payoff. The entire point of this journey is that the challenge of winning a Scorpio's heart, point number 1, is not about playing games. It is about understanding that you are approaching a fortress. You don't storm a fortress. You demonstrate over time, with patience and unwavering loyalty, that you are an ally. You are there to reinforce the walls, not to tear them down. And the reward for earning that trust is unparalleled. Because once you are inside the fortress, you are no longer a threat. You are the treasure they were protecting all along. You gain the most loyal, devoted friend imaginable. Point number 6. A Scorpio will go to war for their friends. They will defend you with a ferocity that is terrifying to your enemies and deeply comforting to you. You gain a passionate partner who loves with their entire soul, who will merge with you on a level that transcends the physical. They are not difficult. They are a high-security system guarding a priceless treasure. The mistake people make is focusing on the difficulty of the locks instead of appreciating the value of what's inside. If this finally helped you understand the Scorpio in your life, the most valuable thing you can do is hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our next deep dive. And you might want to save this video. Content this honest has a way of disappearing. Now, I want to hear from you. Which sign should I decode next? Let me know in the comments.